It's no secret that Klopp's philosophy has a pretty clear sell-by date, and his performances at both Dortmund and Liverpool suggest that his heavy metal football can't go on forever. With Liverpool's ageing midfield being one of the core reasons as to their lackluster season, there's a reason why they moved so quickly to sign the World Cup winner Alexis Mac Allister. But the 24-year-old style of play gives us a big hint as to what Klopp is planning for next season, and it's a completely different approach to what Liverpool are known for. Let's take a look. At how Liverpool are changing their approach, it's important to understand Mac Allister's preferred style of play. Brighton's most used formation this season was the 4-2-3-1, with Mac Allister's most common position being the central attacking midfielder. However, he often featured as one of the two pivots as well, which is very important when it comes to understanding how he might fit in at Liverpool. Now, while Brighton lined up like this, their in-play formation was much more resemblant of a 2-4-2-2, with Mac Allister being one of the two central players alongside the striker in either Ferguson or Welbeck. Brighton's main objective was to invite pressure, freeing a player in the centre before finding him with an indirect third-man pass, allowing the receiving player to move forward into this space between the lines. And this is one of the main reasons as to why every Brighton attack felt like a counter-attack, as with two simple passes they could easily cut out 5 or 6 players. When playing as an attacking midfielder, Mac Allister had excellent spatial awareness, always positioning himself in a way to receive the ball and lay it off into the free player, or if not under pressure could turn and attack the back line. Alternatively, when Mac Allister was one of the two pivots, when receiving the layoff he had space to push forward or to move the ball into the wingers, linking defence and attack with his excellent passing range. In the final third, Brighton's shape would initially shift into a 3-2-5, but Mac Allister's positioning meant he would often drop off the defensive line to receive the ball, mostly in the inside left position, allowing the left back to push up on the flank, transforming the front five and outnumbering the back line. From here he had excellent passing range, looking for through balls into Matoma or Ferguson, and his positioning meant he could offer constant support to the winger and fullback, creating triangles out wide and often attacking the half space, before looking for cutbacks into the striker. But the majority of his offensive play would end up in either efforts from the edge of the box, ranking high in Europe for XG created from dribbles, or more commonly arriving late in the box to finish off the attacking move, finishing the season with an XG of 10.2, in the top 2% of players in Europe and top 1% across midfielders. Mac Allister has proven to be a very adaptable midfielder, but can he adapt to Jurgen Klopp's system? While he may seem slightly out of position in a 4-3-3, the reality is that Liverpool are looking to move away from this formation for good, and it was actually their shift away from this formation that led to their late resurgence in the league. While on paper Liverpool consistently lined up as a 4-3-3, their performances throughout the season forced Klopp to rethink his tactics. And one of the biggest talking points was the role of Trent Alexander-Arnold, a fantastic creative offensive player, but with clear defensive deficiencies. This season, Liverpool's press was one of their biggest issues, and while in previous years they were able to regain possession high up the pitch with an aggressive midfield, this season they would consistently get caught in behind, conceding the most XG from counters than any other team in the league. For this reason, in the later stages of the season, Liverpool switched their pattern, and rather than having Trent pushing up and giving width on the right, he started to invert into the centre of the pitch to form a 3-2 structure, common in both Arteta's Arsenal and Guardiola's Man City. This allows Trent to use his excellent passing range to pick out the forward runs of the wingers, while also allowing the other two box-to-box midfielders to pick up a position further up the pitch between the lines, and simultaneously gives the team more defensive cover. And it's here where we can start to see the similarities with Brighton and how Mac Allister could fit in. By going back to the starting 4-3-3, Mac Allister could fit in well as the left midfielder. Firstly, it's a position that Liverpool have struggled to fill with either Curtis Jones or Thiago. With the initial rotation of Trent moving inside, Mac Allister would be in a very similar position to his role at Brighton, completing the box shape in the centre and picking up a position between the lines. Alternatively, Mac Allister could also take the position of Fabinho as the central pivot, rotating to free up space for either Alexander-Arnold or one of the box-to-box midfielders. From this position, Liverpool will look to him for his short line-breaking passes, providing as the link between defence and attack, while they could rely on Trent for longer, more vertical passes into the wingers. More likely, the left midfield position is one that needs more attention, and his performances at the World Cup and subsequent position change at Brighton proved that this was his more natural position. However, there is one significant difference between Liverpool and Brighton's structure, and it's one that could benefit Mac Allister quite nicely. As we saw earlier, Brighton's structure is a 2-4-2-2, while Liverpool's would potentially be a 3-2-2-3. the main difference being that Brighton have more players involved in build-up, while Liverpool would have more central support. But this central support could be the key element to help McAllister find even more space between the lines. Whether it's Van Dijk, Trent or Alisson, Liverpool's defensive players have the ability to pick out the attacking set of players with long, precise passes. And so given the extra man in the centre, it often means the front three could push the defensive line further back to stop this threat of a direct ball, meaning McAllister and Henderson would have much more space between the lines. If the opposition look to counter this, then it gives Liverpool more space to build and break the first line of pressure, allowing them to get in a position to outnumber the defence further up the pitch. While Brighton would look to invite as much pressure and play through it, Liverpool have the quality to simply play over it. And the technical ability of Jota, Salah or Gakpo mean the defence will always have to be wary of their position. In the final third, Liverpool's new system saw Henderson, Salah and Trent often rotating their positions and disrupting the defensive shape, constantly alternating which players were in support, out wide or in the half space. With McAllister, a very similar pattern could emerge on the left flank, allowing Robertson to push up out wide, or to be in support while Jota moves into the half space. His positioning between the lines and his ability to play on the half turn often mean defenders step out of the defensive line to close him down, but he has the passing range to pick out the striker with a through ball, something Liverpool struggled with this season. McAllister on the left could also mean Robertson has more freedom to attack, and Liverpool can once again rely on both their fullbacks to create chances. Finally, a huge part of Klopp's philosophy has always been the aggressive gegenpress, but the signing of McAllister suggests that Klopp is starting to change his ways. One of the biggest downfalls of Liverpool's season was a disjointed midfield not regaining possession enough, exposing the defence to a lot of counterattacks. However, for next season, it looks as if rather than attempting to fix this issue, Klopp is moving in a completely different direction, and has signed a player that can make them a lot more dangerous in other situations. McAllister's defensive abilities and work rate are definitely not to be overlooked, but if Klopp wanted a direct solution to their gegenpressing problem, there were certainly better suited midfielders for that type of playstyle, and it looks as if Liverpool could become a much more possession-based team next season. And now let me know what you think. What do you think of McAllister joining Liverpool, and where do you think Liverpool will finish next season? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below.